Arsenal SGL-31-61, AK-74M. It's funny. I get a lot of messages and comments from people about shooting technique and this, that, and the other thing. And it's funny because they'll be like, oh, you're not holding this right, or you're not doing this, or you slap the trigger, or you blink when you shoot, or whatever stupid shit that they say. And I get the comments, and it's funny because I'm thinking to myself, well, my targets, they tell me a different story. So I always have to laugh to myself because regardless of any of that shit, I hit what I'm shooting at, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. And most of that time, it's the case. But today, I gotta tell you, I had a bad day at the range today. This is a great rifle. I've shot this dozens of times, and as I'm going to progress with the review of it, I'm going to review it as how I shot it on other occasions. Because today, I was just off. Just an off day. I couldn't hit the floor if I fell on it today. I was shooting really bad today. So, but I'm not, that's, everybody has a bad day, every now and then. Just something was off, just having a bad day. Everybody's got them. But anyway, sit tight for my review on the Arsenal SGL-31-61. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Today we are going to do a short video on the Arsenal SGL-21, and we are going to compare it, a light comparison to this Arsenal SGL-21 in 7.62x39. This one is, of course, this is an AK-74. It's 5.45x39mm caliber. This is 7.62x39mm caliber. Actually, this one is one of the theme group marked ones, but I still call it an Arsenal because it's kind of like people calling the Wyndham ARs still calling them Bushmasters. It's kind of just a force of habit, and to be honest with you, for the life of me, between these two guns, this 31-61 that I've had since about 2008, 2009, and this theme group SGL-21 that I bought last year, I think it was, yeah, last year. Other than the markings and the caliber, I can't find one goddamn thing different about these rifles. I don't think there is a difference, just the markings. Anyway, so we're gonna do a quick comparison, and we're going to talk about some of the advantages of the 5.45x39 caliber AK-74 over the 7.62x39 caliber AK-47. Before that, we will talk a little bit about the history of how the Soviets got to the 5.45x39. They started out, of course, with the 7.62x54R cartridge, predating World War I, and they used that rifle. They used the Mosin Nagant in the 7.62x54R cartridge up through World War I and World War II. Now, after World War II ended, during the war, the Russians, they saw the great effect of the German Sturmgewehr, which was basically, to my knowledge, the first assault rifle. They had captured them, and they got a good look at they got a good look at the operating system and the concept of shortening the cartridge to make it lighter, more transportable, and also to make it have less recoil and be more user friendly. The Germans, of course, they chopped down their original 7.92x57mm cartridge used in their Mauser rifles, and they came up with the 7.92x33mm Kurz that was used in the Sturmgewehr. Now, taking kind of that same line of reasoning, the Soviets, they shortened and removed the rim casing of their 7.62x54R cartridge and developed the 7.62x39mm cartridge. And after some time, eventually they adopted the SKS, and after a little bit of time, when they adopted the SKS, it was already outdated. So there was politics involved with that. As I understand it, the man who invented the SKS, Sergei Simonov, he had like a lot of clout and was like an elder statesman, and a lot more respected than Mikhail Kalashnikov. So his design, the SKS, was adopted, even though it was outdated and far less versatile than the Kalashnikov rifle. Now, the Soviet Union, they adopted the Kalashnikov rifle. I believe late 40s, early 50s, and they were using that rifle for a very, very long time, and they were widely manufacturing them and widely distributing them during the Cold War, and they were sending them to basically any socialist country that did not like the United States, because they were the two, after the end of World War II, they were the world's two great superpowers. So anybody that was socialist, had similar ideals, did not like the United States, they gave them piles of Kalashnikovs. But anyway, so we get into the Vietnam War, and in spite of a lot of the early problems of the M16 in Vietnam, everybody knows the story about them not sending the M16s over with cleaning kits, them sending them over using different gunpowder than what was tested, and they were testing the rifles in places that were like pharmaceutically grade and clean, and so they sent the rifles over with no cleaning kits. They told these men that the rifles were self-cleaning and they didn't need to clean them, and they sent them over with ammunition that had never been tested in the rifles, and the rifles began to jam like crazy. Everybody knows the story, and people started getting killed, and throughout decades since then, most of those problems have been corrected. Even though the M16 was having its problems over there, the Soviets saw the merit, once again, of downsizing their primary rifle cartridge. He's like, okay, you know, this is a smaller, lighter cartridge, you know, high velocity. You know, you can carry more of it. You know, we see the merit in this. So they developed their own cartridge to combat ours. They developed the 5.45 by 39mm cartridge to combat our 5.56 by 45mm cartridge. And you know, in comparing those two calibers, I mean, that's a completely different video. But in a nutshell, the 5.45, it's a shorter casing. It's not as loaded with gunpowder as the 5.56 is. It is slightly lower velocity, and it has slightly lower energy than the 5.56. The advantage of the 5.45 over the 5.56 has been widely discussed, and anybody watching this video has probably heard this a dozen times over. The 5.45 by 39 cartridge will tumble and do ridiculous amounts of wound damage from any barrel. The 5.56 needs a longer barrel to get that same kind of tumbling and, you know, fragmenting, especially with the 5.56 and the jacket coming off. You get the same effect. You get the same, you know, tumbling and you know, just crazy wound channeling out of the 5.45 by 39 out of an 8-inch barrel than you would out of a you know, a 20-inch barrel. But the 5.56, from what I understand, needs high velocity to accomplish that fragmenting and tumbling effect. Now, in comparing it to the 7.62 by 39 used in this SGL-31, here's how I see this. Now, I'm an AK guy. I watch a lot of these videos. I mean, I am not by any means an AK fanboy. Go watch my video on my AR-15 collection. I have 5 of them. I love ARs. Okay, so you know, if you want to say that, you can get the hell out of here with that. Like I mentioned, I've seen a lot of videos, a lot of guys who are like really into the AR. You know, they'll shoot an AK-74 and they, for whatever reason, they just don't seem to get it. Like we don't get it. You know, why would you go to this smaller bullet? You got this bigger bullet, you know, that apparently they think does more damage. Well, you know, I've shot both of these weapons very extensively, and I've shot many 7.62 by 39 caliber AKs, and I've shot quite a few 5.45 by 39mm caliber AKs, and you know, I don't know what there is to not understand. What are the two things that everybody complains about that doesn't like the AK, or even people that do like it? What do they say are the drawbacks of it? One, ergonomics. Well, you know, going to a 5.45, that doesn't change anything with that. However, it does really reduce the kick. I mean, the kick on this rifle is basically non-existent. I mean, this thing kicks even less than an AR does. But what's the other thing everybody whines about when they talk about an AK? Oh, it's not accurate. Well, you know, you want to talk about, you know, bench resting and sitting down and shooting pretty little 2-inch groups from your bench. Okay, or 1-inch groups from your bench. Okay, maybe not. All right, but as far as practical accuracy goes, I think that these rifles are more than capable, especially in 5.45. And I don't do a lot of bench shooting. You know, you guys see my videos. I stand up and I shoot. That's what I like to do, and I don't really take my time either, because, you know, honestly, in a situation like that, would you take your time? So, you know, I don't really get all bent out of shape about group size and, you know, blah blah blah, all that crap. I figure, you know, if I'm out 7,500 yards and I'm tattooing a target that's the size of a man's torso at 75 to 100 yards. No matter how, any place on that target, standing up shooting, I'm hitting that target. That's a good shot, if you ask me. Standing up shooting is a completely different ball game than bench resting. But back to the accuracy issue. I mean, everybody complains about the AK's accuracy. Well, I can tell you from my experiences, having shot this rifle for many years now, and having shot this rifle, I've shot other versions of this. The actual Arsenal ones, and I have that SLR 107, and I have a lot of 7.62 by 39mm AKs. As far as accuracy goes, this rifle, it's more accurate at any range than this rifle. Okay, it's more accurate. It's considerably more accurate, and you probably get about 100 extra yards of practical range out of it, standing up shooting and actually being effective. That's how I feel about it. So those are the advantages, and you got that good round that tumbles and does damage against soft squishy stuff like human flesh and organs and tissue and everything like that. So it's a very effective anti-personnel round. Where it loses out to the 7.62 by 39 caliber AK, it's pretty obvious. The availability of ammunition and magazines. You go into any gun shop in this country, you will find boxes of 7.62 by 39, and you will find magazines for your Kalashnikov rifle. At least anywhere near Philly, any gun shop I've ever been around this area, you do not see magazines for an AK-74. You do not see the ammunition for an AK-74. You got to go to gun shows. You got to get the shit offline, and that's the big drawback. These guns are getting a lot more popular. They're getting a lot more prevalent because people see the merit. They see the extra accuracy. They see all the advantages that you get out of this rifle. So eventually, I would like to see, and hopefully it does, come to a point where you can buy the magazines and you can buy the ammunition in the stores. You don't have to go through some special, ordering process, going to gun shows, going online, shit like that. And another disadvantage, they only import this stuff, from my understanding, seasonally, and I didn't know that till I watched the video. And it makes sense because I realized, because I've been shooting these for years, I've had plenty of AK-74s, and I've had like 4 other ones besides this one, maybe 3 or 4 other ones besides this. I'd have to sit back and think about it. But anyway, it makes sense that it makes sense to me now that I heard that they only import this stuff seasonally, because certain times during the year you cannot find this shit. You cannot find 5.45 by 39 ammo anywhere. And especially in like a crazy thing like what was happening after the shooting in Connecticut and all that other bullshit. Things that were already scarce became even more scarce. I learned my lesson, and when this stuff is in, I will literally buy thousands of rounds of it at a time. I will buy it by the caseload, because I love shooting these 5.45 caliber AKs so much. I mean, they're more comfortable to shoot. They're more accurate. They kick less. They got a longer effective range. It's really a no-lose situation. And another way that it loses out, I'm backtracking here, but I forgot. Another way that it loses out to the 7.62 by 39, though, while we're being fair, it has less of an obstacle defeating capability because it's firing a later round. This shit'll go through wood, cars, barricades, things like that, more easily than this rifle will. But to be perfectly honest with you, I think that this rifle, I'm shooting these little nasty 5.45x39 bullets, I think it's a lot more effective against a soft target like a human. Today I shot 3 different types of ammunition through this Arsenal SGL-31-61. I shot this 59 grain Golden Tiger full metal jacket. Out of the 3 types of ammunition that I shot, this is the cleanest and the most accurate, if you ask me. I also shot this Silver Bear 60 grain full metal jacket. This stuff is pretty clean too. It's got the zinc plated casing, and this stuff's pretty clean, pretty accurate. You know, and to my understanding, this stuff, the Silver Bear 5.45x39, that is what they exclusively test the SGL-31s with, or at least it used to be. And I also shot out of it today this WPA Military Classic, 5.45x39 60 grain. This is the dirtiest and least accurate, but it was still pretty accurate. I also shot 3 different types of magazines through it today. This is your standard military surplus 5.45x39 AK-74 magazine. I also shot this Bulgarian Circle 21 magazine through it. And I also shot this orange Tapco magazine through it. I mean, out of the 3 of these, I mean, obviously these 2 are the best. I'd love to tell you that I have some kind of preference between these 2, but I don't. They're both tough as hell, durable. This magazine, the Tapco magazine, this is perfectly fine as a recreational magazine, and if you needed to use it in a life and death situation, I'm sure it'd be fine. But it's definitely a lot more frail than the other 2. This thing in the back here, there's no metal in it. I could see that breaking very easily. But for recreation, I think it's a good magazine, and you probably would have to whack it pretty hard on something to break it, but it's definitely the frailest and weakest of the 3. Theme group SGL-31-61. As you can see, made in Russia by Ishmash. Theme group Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. Sega 7.62x39. I believe those are both Ishmash markings. Alright. This is an older SGL, Arsenal SGL-31-61. Legion, Ishkvesk, Russia. I probably mispronounced that. Arsenal, Las Vegas, Nevada. That is an Ishmash stamping, but this one has that one too. Is the second one here. Other than that, it's the same goddamn rifle in 2 different calibers.